city of Atlantis. If you look at the picture in Figure 6, you see a hand holding a tetrahedron. At each point of the tetrahedron there is a magnetic spin axis. The point at the top of the tetrahedron where the four fingers located was where the geographical North Pole along with the magnetic pole, but during the galactic alignment with the Earth in the year 10,500 BC, which was 180-degree opposite of what just happened in 2012, a magnetic reversal happened and caused the spin axis on the top, where the forefinger is to shift to the point where the thumb is located. On Earth this location would correlate to the Bermuda Triangle. If you look down at the center of the Bermuda Triangle, it would be as though you were looking down onto the top of the spin axis of a tetrahedron. Notice a picture in Figure 7 shows the location of the Bermuda Triangle looking down from the top. Is it not strange that, if you take the drawing of the Barbary Castle crop circle, superimpose its triangle onto the Bermuda Triangle, you see what appears to be the spin axis of the tetrahedron surrounded by concentric lines, which would tend to indicate, as I've been describing, the location of the old North Pole location. Locked in the spinning vortex of the Bermuda Triangle is all the memories associated with the spiritual truth of the past before the year 10,500 BC, that is being released gradually through time as we get closer to the point where quantum jump like the ratchet shown in the Barbary crop circle will happen, and shift the spin axis again, to raise the city of Atlantis. To show more evidence of the statements I make about Atlantis, notice the two figures, one on each side of Corona Borealis. One is the constellation of Hercules and the other is the constellation of Bootes. In mythology, Bootes is related to King Arthur, because the constellation contains the famous star Arcturus, and also you can see the figure is holding a sword above his head ready to put it back into the stone or polar axis of the Earth. On Earth, these two constellations flanking Corona Borealis would be known as the Pillars of Hercules, spoken of by Plato. His remark was that Atlantis is just beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Notice in Figure 7 I have circled on the map the location of the Pillars of Hercules. To show a little more evidence of the statements I'm making, notice in the Mayan drawing of Figure 4 you see just above the bow, that is the spiraling rope connection on its way to the crown of the Earth, you can see two figures flanking the crown. These two figures are also depicting the Pillars of Hercules, and also function as the Libra scales. Notice on the left the figures sitting in front of a cup with a string of genetics made up of 4 circles hanging above the cup ready to be weighed. The number 4 depicts the 4 corners of the Earth, indicating Earth as the destination of the reincarnated beings. Notice the sword in the hand of Bootes as symbolizing King Arthur is heading directly into the cup of the Little Dipper. The cup of the Little Dipper is referred to in the Christian context as the cup of indignation, which will be poured out on the earth during the end-time scenario. The book of Revelation speaks about Jesus holding the 7 stars in his hand. These stars are the constellation of the Ursa Minor or the Little Dipper, and the 4 stars that make up its cup symbolize the 4 beasts of Revelation, and also the 4 cardinal signs of the zodiac. Now notice the figure on the right side is holding a string of genetics made up with 5 circles. This is to indicate the resurrection of the planet Earth with the destination set for Venus, and eventually onto the stars with the symbol for stars as 5 points. The Mayans were especially interested in the course of the planet Venus in the heavens and carefully watched its cycles, because they knew that it was the next planet in line to be able to sustain life in our solar system. What I'm trying to bring out here is that the Mayan drawing of Figure 4 is the way a teacher like an alien would draw a sky chart in order to teach a primitive society of people. The Mayans were led to constantly watch the heavens looking for the promised return of Quetzalcoatl, which resulted in their developing accurate records of the heavenly cycles. This led them to notice the ending of the long count galactic alignment cycle with Earth on December 21st of the year 2012 is recorded in the zodiac. Notice the picture in Figure 8 is showing a person rising through a column to the heavens, and then also notice that the column is centered on Christ's crown of thorns. It seems as though the artist that painted the picture is implying that the path to heaven is in some way centered on and through a crown, and especially the one we relate to Christ. Can you see that this all seems to relate back to the northern crown, shown on the Sky Chart 3 map as the Corona Borealis constellation? It seems that back in the days, when the artist painted this picture, somehow, whether he was conscious of it, or whether he done it subconsciously, sensed the truth, that all seems to be resonating with what is now being explained in this message. This drawing is showing the crown of Christ as the gateway, similar to what the ancients believed about Corona Borealis being the gateway to heaven. It seems that underneath that column is the city of Atlantis, hidden in the spin axis of the tetrahedron that slipped, shifted or fell and became known to us as the Bermuda Triangle. But the living souls that were lost when Atlantis sank are being raised along with the city of Atlantis, and the soul rising all seems to be tied to the saving grace of Christ wearing a crown of thorns. To the modern scientific minds of our age, this may all sound like mythological nonsense, but I assure you something is about to happen. As Jesus said, "When you see all these signs in the heavens, look up, for your redemption is near." Something very remarkable and sort of unbelievable happened on the day the Mayans said the end of the long count cycle on December 21, 2012 would happen. On that day at 11:30 a.m. a weighing event happened which cannot be denied, and can be shown repeatable over and over again through a computer rendition set in real-time motion of the heavens during the event happening, as I said, on December 21, 2012 at 11:30 a.m. The event was set in the program to be viewed from on top of the Giza pyramid while it happened. Notice in figure 2 in the box on the left the actual drawing laid out of the constellation of the Libra scale is shown, drawn with the sky chart 3 astrological program. The Earth is setting dead center, as though being weighed in the left cup of the scales. The sky chart program, while in real-time motion, was stopped at exactly 11:30 a.m. The collective soul of mankind was weighed as in a judgment in the heavens, similar to the Egyptian weighing of the heart ceremony. This as a heavenly event was to determine who would be reincarnated in the flesh on earth again during the millennium age. Notice that the earth appeared heavy in the balancing of the scales, meaning that at that moment in time the weighing of all the souls that will be reincarnated on earth was performed. We may be shown at another time in the future the weighing of the souls who will be resurrected to the stars. Another weighing will be performed, and the alignment of the earth at that time will exactly set dead center in the right cup of the scales, indicating the weighing or the souls that are lighter than a feather and are ready to soar off into the heavens. There appears to be 2 dates in the near future that this can happen, but I'm not to speculate, but I do sense the word honeymoon and the earth and the moon's timing relationship changing. Moses and the Red Sea crossing during the Egyptian episode leading to the Hebrews' journey to the Promised Land was as a precursor, that is leading to its image, the image being during the millennium ages at time of heaven on earth. Can you see the repeating cycles as in cycles within cycles? The controlling of all this was described as wheels within wheels by Ezekiel in his vision of the timing of the zodiac. The truth is that what Ezekiel saw in his vision were the collective souls of mankind as set in eternity, as indicated by the wheels within wheels he saw. Notice in the drawing of figure 3 you see a picture of the famous Barbary Castle crop circle that appeared in a field in England on July 17, 1991. Notice I have inserted red circles in one of the arms of the crop circle as depicting the collective souls set in eternity. The quarter-turn ratcheted arcs show how the souls flow from eternity to eternity on their journey through time. The 4 faces Ezekiel saw in his vision were actually the 4 cardinal constellations of the zodiac. The graphic drawing of his vision as the zodiac is shown in figure 3. I was given the privilege to decode this famous crop circle at that time. The ratcheted spiral in one of the arms of the crop circle turned out to be made up of a combination of a Fibonacci spiral and a golden mean spiral, as related to the timing of the zodiac as our cosmic time clock. The ratcheting occurred at the 4 cardinal constellation locations, similar to that of Ezekiel's 4 faces, set in the layout of the zodiac. The ratchets were shown to be corrective measures to keep the 2 spiraling energies in balance. This was discovered when I was led to superimpose the ratcheted spiral onto a layout of a zodiac chart, and I noticed that the ratchets lined up with the 4 cardinal constellations in the zodiac. It turned out that the Fibonacci spiral is the pattern that our physical body's life energy follows, and that the pattern of our spiritual life energy is the golden mean spiral, which is related to light as in a spiraling light cone. The layout and timing of the zodiac was plotted and designed for mankind as a collective species, to observe his progress on his journey to final perfection, when he receives his light body. It was shown in the decoding on the crop circle at every quarter turn of the zodiac cycle there would be disastrous corrections, and in the biblical sense this would indicate judgment. The truth of the biblical statement, that heaven is taken by storm, can be shown as displayed in the very pattern of life in the heavens. You see this in the start of life 14 billion years ago, when two galaxies collided or mated, and became one to initiate the flow pattern of life, that led to life on Earth. Then 4 billion years ago Nibiru collided in mating with the planet Tiamat, to emulate the two galaxies colliding. Then 40,000 years ago the Anunnaki aliens who lived on the planet Nibiru journeyed to Earth to mate with its Neanderthal species through a scientific manipulation of genetics. Can you see and sense the pattern flow of life that started way back when the two galaxies collided? With this point of view in mind, it cannot be denied, especially when you see the fact, that image of the mating of planets Nibiru and Tiamat, which led to its image of the Anunnaki mating with the Neanderthals. The fact is, that the Anunnaki aliens had no choice but to follow the flow, because it was all destined to happen to keep the wheels of life rolling through time. My point in the last paragraph was to show that the very soul of man is destined as an eternal being made up of two mingling energies, to go into eternity to rest, and then enter into time, to experience conscious life for a while, and then go back into eternity for another nap. This is living life eternal in the kingdom of heaven, showing us the fact that it takes two to tango, doing the dance of life's mingling energies, and then rest in an eternal moment. Just as in the beating of our hearts,